because, one of the big hang-ups I had about it was because ever since Vietnam, I've met so many fakes. And it pisses me off when I come across a guy that tries to be something he's not. And it kind of made put me in a shelter where I didn't want to talk about because I didn't think people would believe my story.
Yeah. Well, and thinking about that, I mean, we had that talk. I realize I'm rocking on the chair, and that's probably a bad thing. We had the talk on the podcast with Doc's friend, Jim, and he said he comes across a lot of people who say they were in Vietnam and weren't. I mean, I know what you guys mean because I, like I said on the podcast, Dust and I were in LA. And this guy behind us in line, as we're waiting to get in this industry party, he's like, "Oh, I work law enforcement." And I was like, "Oh, federal law enforcement." I was like, "Awesome, like, let's hang out. Like, you're my new best friend at this party." And I was like, "What'd you do?" And he's like, "I can't legally tell you until after August 24th of whatever year." And I was like, "Bullshit." He's like, "What?" And I was like, "I'll tell you what I did. I worked U.S. Customs and Border Protection, anti-terrorism, blah, 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 for the Department of Homeland Security." "What did you do?" "I can't legally tell you." And talk about 0 to 60 anger. Like,
I'm trying to get Dave into this party. All we have to do is show up and be like, "Hi, we're these guys," and they have a list, and the thing. And meanwhile, Dave's turning red and like getting more furious by the second. I'm just like,
Well, yeah, and so then they're like, "Okay, next." So we get, we scan against the list, and you're in. And that should have been the coolest moment in the world. It's our first Hollywood party where they're like, "You're on the list." But instead, I'm just pissed at this dude behind me. Pissed that he's doing it. Pissed that he's basically stealing money from something that I could be doing as a consultant. But then we get in, and I'm just like, I'm waiting inside, like everyone's got to go through.
He's like pacing by the bar to find this guy who like clearly bailed, like got caught and was like, "I'm out of here. I'm not going to this." Because we went inside and. Man, the rest of the night.
So yeah, I feel how you're. I totally understand how you're angry about it, but I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second. Not for the fakers, because F them. But if we really take a step back and look at it for how you guys were treated when you came home, and no one even wanted to talk about it, and now public perception has apparently come around enough that it seems cool to pretend like you've been there. Like, when you look at it in that respect, not, like I said, screw those guys who are the stolen honor guys, but in terms of society, like, is that at least kind of 5% of a comfort that it's come around enough that it's cool to say you were a Vietnam vet?
Well, I'm almost 72 years old right now, and I can't be ashamed of what I did the rest of my life. I refuse to do it. And anybody want to downgrade me or talk about me, that's fine. I know what I did and the guys I served with. The reason it makes me angry when I do come across these people like that, and it just takes me so long to get over it. Because me knowing the things I had to do, in Vietnam, and and it's hard to get over that anger. It takes me days sometimes. Try to stay away from things like that, but sometimes it's right in your face, and you have to confront it. But I think this Memorial Day weekend, this past Memorial Day weekend, taught me a lot. There was a couple of things I saw. One of the biggest impacts that hit me was I was watching a documentary with Rob O'Neill, the Navy SEAL that killed Osama bin Laden, and they was talking about his mission and how he felt when, on in flight to that mission. And he said, this could be a suicidal type action. Bad things could really happen. He wouldn't have second thoughts, but it was on his mind. And all of a sudden, I started crying because I remember when I remember when Craig Jurgerson was on a team with Hotel Company 75th Rangers. That's when Zaporozhky and Torres got killed. And I was back in the company area at that time. We was either going out on a mission or we'd just come back in. I can't really remember. It's been over 50 years. But anyway, we were selected to go out as a rescue mission to help that team out because they were in contact with 2 dead. And I remember it was getting almost dark. We were standing by the helicopter. I was standing right at the door where the door gunner sat, you know, and the blades just whooping around. And I thought that same thing. I said, this could be suicidal. But we got to go in and try to help these guys. But at the last minute, it was aborted because the higher up said, well, if we put them in there, they might not come out. So people didn't get in there the first light the next morning. But after Rob O'Neill talked about it on television, that's when like I said, that's when I cried. That impact itself, I told myself, hell, I've been there. I know what it feels like. And when somebody tries to take credit for something he didn't do, that makes me fucking angry.
Flip.
Oh, excuse me,
Don't worry, I get on Dustin about it all the time too.